So what is an Ethernet fabric? Let's take a look at some of the base characteristics of the fabric. First, its resilience while maintaining topology flexibility. When you start thinking about a highly virtualized environment, you're talking 20, 40 applications per server now that our customers are running. This is no longer a single app, single server that can go down, and it affects very little of your overall data center infrastructure. This is an environment where that single server going down now, particularly in an area where VMs are mobile, you don't know what applications, what workloads you're affecting, and it becomes a very critical resource inside the data center. But one of the other things we've learned as we've built fabrics over the last 15 years is we can't predict exactly how our customers are going to use the fabrics, what applications they're going to put on it, what types of applications, etc. So we have also learned that fabrics have to be very flexible in terms of their topology. What physical switches they interconnect together, what oversubscription ratios are on the network, whether they want it in a mesh or a cross architecture, etc. It has to be very flexible to meet the individual demands of every customer. It has to be massively scalable. We have fabrics running today with tens of thousands of ports in them. As we have grown with those fabrics, we also see now with cloud architectures that these environments have to be massively scalable, particularly as we start looking at the data centers that will be in service providers, and we're talking about tens or hundreds of thousands of ports on those fabrics. So it has to be massively scalable, but at the same time it has to be operationally simplistic. That fabric has to be incredibly easy to manage, or else when you talk about this type of scale, your operation expense will go through the roof. And so at the same time, we've looked at our fabrics and said they have to be as easy to manage as a single switch. They also have to be very high performance. Talking to some of the industry analysts today, as you move from a single app on a single server to a virtualized environment, you're talking 20, 25 times the number or the amount of I/O on that server. So now suddenly the server starts to become an aggregation point on the network, and the switching infrastructure behind it has to be very high performance. At the same time, it has to be very simplistic to manage. When you start bringing up links between switches, they have to be brought up in almost no time with very little configuration. And lastly, they have to be inherently flat, meaning that as we increase the amount of east-west traffic, we have to eliminate old networking paradigms like spanning tree protocol, where you can't have VMs that move across that layer 3 boundaries inside the network. You need those VMs to move across the entire fabric seamlessly and efficiently.